3, 2, 1. And we're live. I'm assuming we're live because Facebook's taking forever. And I noticed this. When I watch my live stream, oh my goodness, my hair. I should not start as early. But anyway, my live stream. When I watch my live stream, I know I'm usually quiet because I try to start both live streams. But I noticed too that when I even when I'm silent, I know exactly in the moment of silence when I go live. Sometimes I memorize that piece of the live stream, and I notice that sometimes the Facebook live stream, like a lot of times I start YouTube first and then I do Facebook. A lot of times the Facebook one. Goes live and I don't even know because I don't get the signal until way later. It's like delayed. It's a delayed signal. So I'm live, but I don't know it. And so I don't say anything until I know it. And so what I ended up doing is I started the YouTube live stream 20 seconds early and then started Facebook about 5 seconds later. Like it took me 15 seconds to start the Facebook one. And then and then obviously after 2 seconds of waiting, I thought 2 seconds was enough, even without the signal, to if I'm cut off, then that's Facebook's problem. YouTube has the whole recording. So that's all I care about because Facebook's going to delete this in a month. So if it did cut me off, I'm sorry. Hello, everybody, is what I said. I waited 2 seconds and then there was only 3 seconds left before 6:50. So that's me going 3, 2, 1. Welcome to our live stream. Sorry, that was a waste of 1 minute and a half. But the plan is to always start 10 minutes early so that I get a chance to say hello before we start our episodes tonight. Speaking of episodes, I'll make sure they're ready so we can start right at 7. The hardest thing that comes to these live streams is the fact that I can never start on time. Like when these used to air on TV, like okay, they only did one episode a week and they did only one season a year. So this is different than what our marathon's doing right now. But whenever you were looking forward to a 45-minute episode of Once Upon a Time, like it would start at 6:58 first of all. So that's a little early. Not exactly 7. Some shows start at 7:01, some shows start at 7:02, but Once Upon a Time on ABC always started at 6:58. They always start the show early. It was like the one thing to watch every Sunday night, and they wanted to start as quick as possible. So anyway, but aside from the 6:58 part, and that was funny because when I first started watching the show, I'd missed the first couple minutes because it didn't start recording till 7. So I'm like, okay, I got to make sure to record a few minutes early. It gives you the option to do that when you have Comcast or on demand. It gives you the option to record a few minutes early. But anyway, ignore that for now. Once upon a time, just in rounding starts at 7, right? And so anyway, if you're not ready to watch the show's going to go on without you. The show must go on. The show goes on without you. So like if I was hosting the show on ABC, the episode would play whether I was ready for it to play or not. If I wanted to introduce the show to the audience before we started, if it was time to start, it would start even if I wasn't done introducing the show to the audience. So it's like yes, because this is not a network live stream. It's not owned by a network. I'm free to start at 7:05 whenever I want. The network's not going to fire me, or I'm not hired to do this thing every Sunday night. Like, this is something I do for fun. So, if we have days we start late, which is almost all the time, 7:02. I mean, it's rare that we start at like 7:30. One time we start at 8. Another time we probably start at 7:10. That was actually a few weeks ago. But most of the time when we start late, it's like 7:05, 7:04, 7:03. And it's, that's because like sometimes, and I've been good lately, starting at 6:50. I just talk for too long during the first 10 minutes. And I'm probably doing that right now. 5 minutes have already passed. But anyway, just trying to fill up the time. But sometimes I come up with enough to say to fill up too much time. And we end up not starting. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, it's 6:59. Let's get ready to start. And it's 7:01 by the time I explain the countdown and everything. I know I probably don't need to explain this at this point. But I've had so many people that just want to pop in and say hi, and they don't know what we're doing. So anyway, I always feel like I need to repeat myself every single live stream. when this isn't a new thing. We've been doing this for a while, almost. It started in April 2025, and we're in January 2026. This marathon of ours has been going on for a while, and it was purposely planned that way. I told you this was going to take a little over a year. And so I'm like, if you haven't been watching our marathon till now, I don't know what you're doing. You're way behind, and I don't think it's going to take you forever to catch up, first of all. Second of all, um, um, I'm like, everyone who wants to do the marathon should have already been doing it by now. Like we're now. I told you in season 4 when we did the Frozen arc, we're closer to the end of the show than we are at the beginning now. We're no longer halfway. We're closer to the end now. There's no, I mean, I'm still welcome to anyone who wants to join in partly through, and even if we're almost done, join in, have fun. But it's almost, at least for people like me that like to start things from the beginning, it's almost too late for that. It's already way too late for that. But anyway, but still, welcome to my marathon, whether you've been with us since April or not. um, but yeah, what was I saying? I was talking about how sometimes I talk till 7:03. Luckily we're not on a strict deadline. I try to start at 7. I try to stick to the dot, start on the stroke of 7, stroke of midnight. Cinderella, like be precisely. What's the word they're trying to say? Not 7 o'clock on the dot. What's the phrase I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say something else. I'm trying to think. Sharp, 7 o'clock sharp. I try to start 7 o'clock sharp. I try to start the live stream 6:50 sharp, but it's hard to do that when a second is 1. That's it. It's 1. It's like 1 second. It's not like you wait a whole minute. Like 1 second. Like if you want to start 0, like 7:00:00:00 with no second, no millisecond, that's kind of impossible to achieve. Unlike ABC, I'm watching the show not on a strict schedule, and it's not like it's unlike ABC. I don't have shows following after this, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock TV shows, so it's like that's why we do 3 episodes a night, sometimes 4. And the show that used to air before Once Upon a Time was America's Funniest Home Videos, and it's a television show that's went on for 30 seasons so far. I think they're on season 34. I don't know. They've been going on for a few decades, and they started in like 1990, and it's kind of like the news. It's not like a show that plans to get canceled at all. You just submit your funniest videos and they'll put it on TV. Funny things that normally doesn't happen in real life that would make an audience laugh. And if you end up winning the top 3 most funniest videos, you'll win a prize of like $1 million or $1,000 or $1 billion. For the top 3. And so sometimes, yeah, that's sometimes fun to watch, knowing that Once Upon a Time would air right after. That's sometimes fun to watch. And when you find out who the winner is, I'm like, woohoo, that was the most funniest video ever. Now I can't wait to watch Once Upon a Time. And then the credits start rolling, and you see the little title card saying Once Upon a Time's next. And then all of a sudden, it has the nice tone. You don't get what I'm saying right now, but it has the nice nostalgic tone of do 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 do. I watched it so many times. I know that theme song very well, even though I was not there to watch that show. I was there for Once Upon a Time. Dude, the Once Upon a Time's about to come on when you hear this. Do 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 do. That's the credit noise. I think that plays throughout the whole episode, but when you see credits on the screen and it goes do 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 do, Once Upon a Time's about to come on because of America's Funniest Home Videos title. Not every time, there might be a few rare occasions that there's not America's Funniest Home Video before Once Upon a Time, but like that's what's mostly the case. And then the credits end and it goes Once Upon a Time starts right now. I'm like, woohoo! So anyway, that the only thing I try to make this as nostalgic as the old days as possible by starting at 7 o'clock on Sunday nights and trying to start at 7, not 6:58 like that show did. But anyway, like Once Upon a Time did. But anyway, one thing that would be nice to have is that little America's Funniest Home Video credits, knowing that show just ended and the next one's about to come on. That would be cool. That would be cool. But yeah, I'm just weird like that. So we're not gonna do that. This is as close as nostalgic as we'll get. I need my headphones. Thank you. Okay, thank you. But yeah, I realized at 6:59, so let's try to start on time this time. I do have the episode ready, and I'm ready to tell you the timestamp. I don't care if there's comments. I'm just ready to start. Um, and I'll tell you the timestamp in just a second. Okay. So last week, okay, 43 minutes and 44 seconds, 7 o'clock. It just barely changed from 6:59 to 7. So let's get started. But for those who didn't know, I hope you have Disney Plus ready. I hope you have, DVD, whatever. It's called The Bear and the Bow, season 5, episode 6. That's where we're starting. Season 5, episode 6, The Bear and the Bow. I hope you're ready. For what was the timestamp again? 43 minutes and 44 seconds if you're watching Disney Plus. That's how much should be on the timestamp. If you're not, it's something else, but make sure you haven't played a single second. I'll do a countdown, but not to be confused. Don't push play when I count down to one. Push play when I count down to zero, which is instead of zero, I usually say now. That's when you push play. And so, anyway, we're gonna do that right now. But just to recap really fast, they just freed Merlin in Camelot, and Arthur's not really happy about it. We also found out he was a villain, and so Emma's not the only villain in this town, and he has motives of his own, and so he doesn't even team up with Emma, even though they're both villains. They both have different evil plans. So we got good versus evil, like two different evils right now. We're kind of focused on Emma. Emma's the main storyline, but Arthur's kind of the villain too. Lancelot's back from the dead, and that's pretty much sums it all, because like I could go in a deeper recap like did in past Sundays that keep us till 7:05, but I'm not going to do that because it's already 7:01. We're going to get started. I just realized I didn't do a recap. I should have said that earlier, otherwise we would have started at 7. All right. And then so all right, if everyone's ready to push play, otherwise pause the live stream. 3, 2, 1, now. Time. That is not very loud. It's okay, keep watching. I can hear it still. I just wish it was louder. So, oh yeah, Merida's trying to make Rumple a hero so he could pull Excalibur from his stone. I forgot about that. Yeah. Arthur knows we freed Merlin and he's not really happy about it. Anyway, and present day Merida's trying to get Rumple to be a hero in present day. I'm seeing if I have other headphones. Hang on. I do have other headphones. I'm gonna see if these ones work, but keep watching. I've never paused or did anything to the show since we said now. So if you thought I was stopping to get different headphones, you're wrong. You better rewind and resync yourself. But otherwise, for those who are still live with us, hang on. These are tangled too. Yep, Merlin can see the future. He knows when something's gonna happen. Yeah, no one notices that Belle's the clever one because she looked up the spell. She's a book reader. No, Belle loves reading books, so she knows how to do magic spells and incantations, and no one seems to notice that. She finds all the spells while they do all the work. Merida, trust Merlin. Merlin is a wise man who's lived for thousands of years. Someone cracked the screen. Did you just see that? It should have been on your screens too. An arrow just shot through once upon a time and caused a crack through the entire O. It's a Merida episode, everybody. A Merida episode. Okay. Okay, this conversation seems missable. The mushroom, the way to communicate Merlin before he got before he got released from the tree. That's what they were going to use to communicate with Merlin, and that now that that was flashback. Present day folks are just realizing this in Storybook and real world. That they can communicate with Merlin. So we kind of already, this is not new information to us. I'm gonna, so that's why I'm gonna unplug these headphones and put different ones in. But yeah, if Rumple hadn't brought the darkness back to Storybrooke, we wouldn't be in this mess. This is way better. These headphones are way louder. Way better. hmm This is way louder. This is perfect. Better than the other headphones I was using. The ones with the red like red plastic around them. That's what I'll try to remember to use next time. So we have the broken headphones where the wires cut on one of them, so I can't use it anymore. And then these ones are the unbroken ones, but I can't hear very well. So I'll use these ones with the red thing on them. I also have blue headphones as a last resort if these ones stop working. But we only have 4 headphones here, guys. Yeah, Belle's not willing to risk Rumple's life. She wants to find Rumple, even though no one else cares about him because of all the evil things he's done in the past. But that was the dark one. Rumple's no longer the dark one, so you know, yes, his sins are his actions, but he's like a different person when he's no longer the dark one. Yeah, Rumple remembers the dark one memories. He remembers Belle. He knows he's in love and married her, so he's trying to use the cup to cut the rope. The cup that symbolizes Chip, the cup that symbolizes their love. He broke it just so he could escape from his ropes. Oh well. Merida kidnaps Belle. Wow. What do you need Belle for? Save your brothers? Merida needs to save her brothers. She's been needing to do that since episode 1, and we're in episode 6 and hasn't had a chance to save her brothers yet. Now, because of the curse, Merida doesn't remember what happened in the last 6 weeks, so if he saved her brothers and doesn't remember it, she still thinks her brothers are in danger, so she wants to go home and find out. In present day, that explains everything. Emma's about to crush Merida's heart when she finds out Rumple escaped. But luckily, Emma has another plan up her sleeve. Instead of killing Merida, he wants Merida to kill Belle. Now go find her and put an arrow through her heart. We're not going to actually see that happen. Sores of Dumbrook 6 weeks ago. Of course it's 6 weeks ago. Of course it is. Now that I think about it, these half season arcs are 12 episodes, right? 11 or 12. If we did 2 episodes a week, that would cover about 6 weeks, wouldn't it? Because that's half of 12. So not half of 11, but with the special that we do at the beginning with the recaps or the Q&A, specials, that's 12. So, however, I'm glad we do 3 episodes. So they get a lot more done. And the plot thickens faster and doesn't take as long to get to resolutions. Unless you're doing 22 episode seasons. And not half season arcs. Which is only season 1. And season 2 is not a whole 22 episode arc. It's kind of smaller arcs mixed all together. Luckily, 3 through 5 are organized, and I wish they kept it that way, because season 6 and 7 are not like these seasons, trust me. It's gonna be a little different when we get to 6 and 7, but I love these half season arcs. That's my favorite part of the show. The fact that they were 11 episodes long, and when you started the season and you knew what the season was going to be about, you didn't technically know what it was going to be about because you only knew what the first half was going to be about. So it was the rest of the season was still a mystery until you got to the second half. Then you had an idea of where we were going after that. So yeah, Merida got Belle to agree. Since Belle is good at reading books, she can use her book advice to go save her brothers, apparently. And now Belle finds Rumple in the clock tower elevator. Know where Maleficent once was presiding. Back in season 1 and season 4. And now Maleficent has her daughter, and they're probably finding her not remembered husband. It's kind of crazy that Maleficent doesn't know who helped her gain a child. She doesn't remember who she had sex with. So it's like who's Lily's father? They never bring that up. They forget. They leave that plot completely behind. So you'll never know on screen you know who Lily's father is. They forget that all the time. All plot holes will be explained in the series finale, though, and that's one of the ones that doesn't get brought up till the series finale. So just keep in mind, if you were hoping to find out who Lily's father was, can you just forget about it? Leave that plot behind, and then when it comes up in our final marathon night, you could say, "Oh, I forgot about that plot." Anyway, sorry, that is so off topic to what we're watching right now. But Rumple coming up from the elevator made me think about Maleficent. I don't know why. But yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so it turns out Emma Swan actually wanted Rumple to escape, so that Merida could attack Belle, and Rumple could do what he can do what he can to protect her. So, funny Merida, we had the same hair at one point in the fall. No longer red anymore. I'm matching with Emma Swan right now. Dark Swan, white hair with a blue stash for winter. The blue's kind of faded out. You can tell it's mostly just white now. My hair, white. I completely understand why you want to roll it alone. Oh, Merida, Merida, Merida. Execute her brothers. Execute Order 66. Just kidding. I've actually been really interested in Star Wars lately. I actually got like 6 lightsabers over the past week. Merida, you're not gonna turn into a bear, are you? If you've seen Brave from Pixar, Merida's mom turns into a bear. And whenever she talks about changing her fate, she talks about turning into a bear. And Once Upon a Time is no exception. They actually go by those logic. terms of the Pixar movie. So yeah, when Meredith says she went, I don't mean to spoil her, but when Meredith says, uh, "I know how to save my brothers. I got to change my fate," she means turning into a bear. Wow. Wicked Witch feels a kick in her stomach. Her baby is growing in there, but unfortunately, though, and when you're pregnant, you have to eat healthy, and so she's forced to eat her vegetables by Regina, and she doesn't want to eat her green vegetables. Green, it's kind of funny because that represents Oz and her skin color from Oz. She's like, I don't want green vegetables. Isn't my sister sweet? Go away. I don't want that. Of course, Emma orders her um, onion rings from Granny's. That's like fried onion greens. It's not vegetable onion greens. It's like fries, onion fries. Emma's willing to protect the Wicked Witch from Regina and the rest of the town because they lock her up, and for because of how wicked she is, and how she has Robin's baby, and they need her around so that Robin can have his child. Anyway, Emma doesn't. Do we have a deal or not? So Wicked Witch is just gloating in Emma's face about Neil again, and when you probably are still sad about Neil, and some things you can't be forgiven of, like Neil. And, I don't think Emma's forgiven the Wicked Witch for killing Neil, and so I don't get it because like remember in season 4 when Rumple made a deal with the Wicked Witch to be included in the Queens of Darkness and wada wada wada. Rumple, well, she killed your son, and you chose to team up with her. Now Emma's doing the same thing. She killed your ex-husband, and you're teaming up with her. You're teaming up with the killer of your spouse or your son. That's crazy. The last thing you want is to team up with them. Okay, you can forgive someone for killing a loved one of yours, right? Like that's what we believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. Forgive others, but like it could be a long time before you could trust them. And it's been a long time, but between the time of the end of season 3 and this, it's not too long. It's probably like a year or less. And like I know there's a year gap in season 3, but Neil died after the year gap, so there's the 9 weeks they had in season 4, and then the 6 weeks they had here. So for all I know, it's only been 3 months since he died. Belle, Rumple, no, but Rumple told Belle all about his first wife, Mila, and so she knows everything about him crippling his foot so that Bellfire could grow up with a father. There's a lot of Bellfire. Mhm. Wow. Now I thought because of your toxic relationship, I thought you would give up on Rumple. Like as soon but he's not the dark one anymore. He's more innocent than he was before, but that still doesn't account for all the sins he made. And so, like, that still doesn't discount all the sins he made. But Belle wants to try to make him a hero. When just a season ago she mentioned how she can't see the man behind the beast anymore, and so I mean there is no more beast, but it's not easy to fall back in love with someone. But anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Belle's gonna try to make help Rumple be a hero and face his problems and protect Belle. But Belle could also protect herself if she needed to. Rumple has not been powerless since he was a coward and he crippled himself to be with his son. So it's like it's been a long time, and so now that he's no longer the dark one, it's like he's back to his cowardly ways. So we haven't seen cowardly Rumple since present day. Belle now just like Rumple, turning Belle helping Rumple turn into a hero is reflecting how she's helping Merida save her brothers. That's how these flashbacks that's how these flashbacks connect. She's good at shooting arrows. Like she can shoot multiple in the same location. She never misses her target. She hits like she's hit so well that when she shoots an arrow in front of another arrow, it just splits the arrow in half. I mean, Emma has her heart. Merida has no choice but to kill her. Whoa, that was just a few inches away. That arrow, they ran right behind the door, and as Merida shot it and they closed the door, the arrow went like just a few inches away from Belle's neck. That was so close. Rumple, you have to protect your wife. Should I even be calling him his wife? They kind of divorced in season 4. They might be ex husband. Wow. Remember, in present day, they haven't found out Arthur's a villain. So they're King Arthur's lying here. Wow, Arthur lied. See, now his evil skills are coming to light in the present day. When they find out he lied, when they find out he lied, he's gonna be villain on both sides of the show, on the past and the present. Uh-huh. Well, right before she shot an arrow. Good job, Belle. That was one thing. You were seconds away from almost being killed. So Merida just explained how her father died. A knight was about to run her through, and she shot her arrow, but instead of hitting the knight, she missed and only hit his cloak. And then the guy stabbed the father in the back, and then he died. And everyone lost faith in Merida that day. You know, that's gonna be a flashback to remember because we're gonna come back to that towards the end of the arc, and which will have to be next week because that's the end of the arc. But but yeah, Merida's father dies in Once Upon a Time. You know how they love killing their parents in Disney movies. They did not kill Merida's parents in Brave, but Once Upon a Time wants to make sure one of her parents dies, so we get to see her father die later in the season. You can change, Rumpel. You can change. You lost her again, Rumpel. First, you were too evil and took power over love, and then now you lost her to being a coward. Didn't you learn from Mila when you were a coward and she didn't want to be with you anymore? The best way to impress the ladies is being a hero and not being a coward. I feel really weird saying that. Yep, you're turning into a bear. A bear. Wow, that's brave right there. That's our movie. It's not the mother, it's the daughter. Now I know how this plays out, but for you guys who don't know, is Merida gonna change into a bear in the flashback as well? These are the guys that Merida was almost forced to marry in the cartoon movie, and the last thing she wanted was to be royal and marry. She wanted to go out and adventure, but her parents wouldn't let her until the end of the movie when her mom was a bear and had to turn back into a human. She's a strong princess and future queen. She can fight herself. She doesn't need a she's not a damsel in distress. She's a perfect dame. Honestly, what would you do in this situation? You don't have the perfect aim as Merida did. So what would you do in this situation? You would probably miss, and those people would have killed your brothers. Honestly, the best thing you would have done is probably kill them, or I don't know. The last thing you should do is kill them, though. Anyway, that was cool. So they shot 3 arrows at Merida's brothers, and Aunt Merida was able. Those arrows are thin sticks. You have to aim perfectly to cut through the wood. Like the wood's not large enough for it to be an easy target. And she somehow, in the tiny thickest wood, she somehow aimed an arrow to go and and through the third one perfectly. She has perfect aim, just like the movie. And just like Snow White never misses a target. Robin Hood never misses a target with his magic arrow. We got multiple people in the show that never miss a target. They perfectly aim well. And and as we just saw, you just saw what I did with an arrow. Do you really want to see what I could do with a sword? I don't think we want to see all that blood spilled everywhere. So no, the everyone bows to their new queen. Now the question is, will she get her coronation and actually become officially a queen? She did not turn into a bear. The water that was just water, not the potion. She switched it with Belle switched it with water. So she may have not turned into a bear in the past, but now she is, and she's chasing Belle down. It's kind of funny though because her and Belle teamed up, as friends, and right now they're acting as enemies. If only they had their memories back, they'd realize how good of friends they are. Wow, the bear was just about to eat Belle's face, and then the last ditch of effort, Rumple threw a rock at the bear. Rumple told Belle to run, and well, he defended himself against the bear, and he's cryptid, and his leg hurts, and he has a hard time walking. He's an old man. He probably can't take it. Oh wow, the bear is about to eat Rumple. He threw a potion right into the bear's mouth. Wow, how did he have that knockout powder with him? That was just lucky coincidence. Merida is now Merida, not a bear anymore. Rumple saved himself with knockout powder or potion or something or dust, knockout dust. You saved Belle. Yeah, I think Belle saved Rumple too. If it weren't for Belle's persuasion to be a hero, he would have left the town line and turned into a tree. Remember what happened to Dopey 2 weeks ago? Remember, Rumpel was still in a coma during the whole flat jump time jump. He didn't wake up till episode 3 of the present, so he's in a coma. So that's what Merida is saying. What will you do with the man you loved or loved, or like, do you still love him or whatever? And he's like, "Well, we'll find out when I find a way to wake him up." And we're finding that out. She still loves him, kind of. There's no indication that she actually wants to be with him after all the heartbreak he's done as the Dark One. If his actions weren't his own, that'd be a little easy forgiven. But it was technically actions of his own. But Immortal Rumple is like looking at a different person than Mortal Rumple. Because as we see with Emma, she used to not be evil either, as Rumple used to not be good. And ever since they switched Dark One rules, it's all different now. Maybe Rumple should be the savior we all need. They could have done that. That would have been a perfect setup, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Regina is a good savior for season 5. Oh, it's the chocolate bars. They said some people say it's a cameo from Lost, the TV show Lost, because these are the same writers that made Lost. Remember how we started season 5? Remember the beginning when our season started with a flashback of Emma watching Sword in the Stone in the theaters in 1989, and the usher said, "Don't do it. Don't pull Excalibur from his stone." That was Merlin. If you didn't put two and two together, he's the same person as the usher. He looks exactly the same. I knew he was Merlin because I seen the show before, but I didn't want to spoil that he was Merlin because you guys didn't know. So now you know. I should have mentioned that when they freed him last week, but it was at the end of the night, and there was a little time for it to come to mind before our marathon ended. Listen again. Yeah, see, Emma's like, someone beat me to it. King Arthur pulled Excalibur from the stone. King Arthur pulled the sword, right? 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 But Merlin knows the future, and he knows the sword is going to be in the stone again. In the real world, it's in the stone right now. And he warned Emma, do not pull Excalibur from the stone. The fate of the people you love depends on it. Leave the sword alone. Emma, listen. Rumple's here to make a deal. Even though Rumple's no longer the Dark One and he shouldn't make deals anymore. Uh-oh, this is bad. The last time someone pulled Excalibur from the stone that wasn't Arthur turned into dust. The guy who beat Arthur to the sword turned into dust because it wasn't meant for him. And so if Rumple's not the one who's supposed to pull Excalibur, he's going to turn into dust. Emma didn't because she was immortal, but Rumple's mortal now, so he's going to turn into dust. He will turn into dust if he's not the hero of Storybrooke. It doesn't make sense because it's told in legend that if you pull a sword from the stone, you are the new leader. Arthur was the new leader of Camelot. When he pulled the sword from the stone, he was meant to be the next one in charge. If Rumple's pulling the sword now, that means he's in charge of Storybrooke. He's been evil for so long. I don't know if I would trust him as leader. I'd rather give that honor to Emma or someone else. Like when Emma's not the dark one and being evil right now. I guess Rumple is a hero, no longer the dark one. So I guess it's fine. But after what he's done as the dark one, I don't know if I would trust him. He pulled the sword and he didn't turn into dust. Whoa! That took forever because this was the cliffhanger we saw in the episode 2, season 5, when when Rumple pulled Excalibur, when we saw the Excalibur in its stone, and Emma was going to pull it, and she had, and Rumple said on her shoulder, the evil devil, "If you want that sword, you're going to have to pay the price." At first, you could have thought it was Hook, but then plot twist at the end of episode 3 was that it was Rumple, and it took them 3 episodes to turn Rumple into a hero. 4 was too focused on Arthur and his backstory, while 5 we focused on freeing Merlin and Camelot. You know, and so we didn't get a lot of Rumple being a hero. So it probably would have taken 1 episode, but it took 3 episodes because his plot wasn't focused on in the last 2. So wow, it took about 1/8 of the season for Rumple to be a hero. That's so slow plot wise. Okay, so just to catch everything up, um, um, so it looks like Rumple pulled Excalibur from the stone, and it turns out what happened. Let's see. It turns out he gave it to Emma and he said a deal's a deal. Because unlike Dark One Rumple, he doesn't go back on his deal. Sometimes he goes back on his deal. He's evil. But now that he's no longer the Dark One, he's actually a hero. And so he fulfills his end of the bargain by giving Emma Excalibur, for saying that Merida's brothers are safe and sound by their mother's side, and saying and giving Merida's heart back. She did her deal and Rumple filled his end of the bargain. And then Emma made a very, very, very big mistake. And he said, "You turned me into a hero." And Emma said, "Well, there are many heroes in this town and none of them been able to stop me." But none of them are Rumple. He's been the Dark One before. He knows the Dark One tactics. He knows everything about the Dark One. He could defeat you now. You turn him into a hero, you turn him into Luke Skywalker. He knows how to defeat you now, Emma. So be ready. Anyway, um, so Henry, anyone, only someone chosen by Merlin can use the mushroom. And they just found out Arthur lied about the cantation spell and found the mushroom in the fire. And little did Arthur know that magic can't burn. Magic can't burn. We're getting Merlin's voicemail. Looks like Nimue. What? Okay, we got something to talk about here before we start the next episode. So that's the credits playing. So I didn't say this, but we were so close to the end of the episode. I didn't say this. I am so sorry. But during that last scene where they got Merlin's voicemail, um, my computer froze for like 30 seconds, and you were probably not in sync with me. So you probably went to credits while I was still staying silent and listening to the episode. So I'm very sorry. I should have told you so you could pause your screen and resync it. But I didn't think that was necessarily, since there was like only a minute left of the episode. So yeah, sorry, you might have been out of sync, but just don't start the next episode yet. And then if you wait until I do our countdown, then we'll be back in sync. But anyway, and now look, it's frozen again. But the credits are over, and it's just plain Disney Crest credits now. I'm just gonna get the next episode ready and pause it. But I want to say something before we start the next episode, even though it's 7:45 and we probably should start like right now. Hang on. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. While it's loading, let me say this. They turned Rumple into a hero, and so now they have an advantage of stopping Emma, because Rumple knows a lot about the Dark One. He's been one for centuries. All right. Um, so anyway, and by the way, the next episode's 43 minutes, 45 seconds. It's season 5, episode 7, called Nimue. And which is was the which was the cliffhanger. Um but anyway, yes. So Rumple pulled a sword from the stone, and now who knows what Emma's gonna do with it. And then in the in the past we saw Merida save her brothers with the help of Belle. Rumple learned to be a hero instead of a coward, something Mila wasn't able to do, unfortunately. It took Belle to make him a hero. She's the true wife of Rumple here. And Rumple pulled Excalibur, so he must be the leader of the town, I guess. Maybe the rules don't apply to Once Upon a Time. uh-huh. So then I guess it doesn't matter who pulls Excalibur, but they, except you have to be a true hero and not turn into dust. Okay. Anyway, out of all the, again, when Emma became the new Dark One, all the sins of Rumple were pretty much washed away and given to Emma instead. They were Emma's sins to pay. All of Rumple's sins became Emma's sins to pay, pretty much. And so his heart went from black to all white, not even red, which would be a good unperfect person. They're all white. He's like the perfect person now. And Emma turned him into a hero. So it's like it made Rumple worthy enough to pull Excalibur. If Excalibur ended up being a thing in real life, only one person would be able to pull an Excalibur, and that's you know our Lord. So anyway, according to the logic I understand about Camelot, is that you have to be you almost have to be perfect to pull Excalibur. Which is not necessarily true, consider that Arthur was probably not perfect. He had flaws, but you have to have as little flaws as possible. Anyway, otherwise, why didn't they get Henry to do it or Merida? Anyway, Rumple became a blank slate, and then he turned into a hero. So, anyway, so Rumple now has the advantage of helping the hero team stop Emma Swan here, and Arthur. Okay, we're gonna start the next episode now. But one thing I wanted to say about that cliffhanger is that they needed someone who was appointed by Merlin to conjure the contation spell that they were going to do earlier. When Arthur said he was going to use the mushroom to contact Merlin, and he threw it in the fire instead. What little Arthur didn't know was that magic doesn't burn. Magic doesn't burn through fire. And so they he should have thought of that before lying, right? Anyway, Arthur was chosen by Merlin at one point, but since he was unqualified, they tried to get someone else to do it, and that was Henry. Henry was the new author, so he chose to communicate through Merlin, and even and they wanted to make sure Henry was up to it because Emma did pull out his girlfriend's heart, and so he's still trying to get over that. But Henry knows that the person that looks like Henry's mom is not really his mom, and so he knows he would do anything to bring her back, and so he's here to help and just he's just here to help bring the real nice savior Emma Swan back. So anyway, we find out that we can't communicate through Merlin because he's dead, and he just leaves a voicemail. If you're getting this voicemail, then things are worse than I fear. The only way to defeat the darkness is Nimue. If you want to stop the darkness, you must find Nimue. And then he gets interrupted, and he's like, the Dark Ones find me already. And they think, now I'm not going to spoil anything, but they think, and they think Emma did something to him because he's like, the Dark One found me already. So that sounds like Emma found him and did something bad to him that caused him to die or something, And so Hook's like, what did Emma do to him? So what did Emma do to Merlin is a good question that we won't quite find out tonight, actually, knowing how the rest of the season plays out. But we will find out next week. But Emma's journey to the dark side will be complete tonight. We'll find out by the end of tonight how she became evil. She became evil before she took everyone back to Storybrooke. So, we'll find out how she became evil, and then next week we'll find out how she cast the curse and killed Merlin to do it. So anyway, because it's not like she loves Merlin, you have to kill the heart of the thing you love the most. So it's like, Who did Emma kill, right? Now, now for those who have seen the show and knows what happens, you know what I know. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's watching this for the first time, but you know this has nothing to do, this thing about Dark One's found me already. You know, it has nothing to do with you know what I'm talking about, if you know what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to say it because we have people who probably want to be unspoiled here. But there's another piece of the puzzle that these guys haven't figured out yet, and I bet you're waiting for us to get to that point. We will tonight. For those who are watching it for the first time and you don't know what I'm talking about, just don't worry. Don't worry about it. I don't want to spoil. All right, next episode. Ready? 43 minutes, 45 seconds. Number, wait until after I say one. When I say the word now. Okay? Ready? Ready, ready. Doing the countdown. Three, two, one, now. Wow, we're getting a flashback of every single episode in the season so far. Whoa, that was a lot. Emma became the Dark One. We went to Camelot to free her from the darkness. Something happened that caused everyone to fail. And now they're back in Storybrooke 6 weeks later, and Emma's trying to pull Excalibur from the stone. She got Rumple to do it, and oh, my computer's frozen again. I am so sorry. This is frustrating. What's going on? We have good internet, and my live stream is fine. What is going on? Okay, sorry. Looks like everything's frozen. Okay, it's playing again. Emma just put the dagger down. If you're on sync, I'm trying to help you here. Rumble just laughed. Okay, I hope that helped. Beautiful. Both halves finally reunited. I'm quoting him, so you know where to fix yourself. Or you could just pause the live stream and do it yourself later. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, flashbacks. Um, yes, it's time for the promise to be fulfilled. Emma's going to reunite the dagger with Excalibur again because they did it in the past before. Now they're going to do it in the present. Um, 1,000 years before the age of Arthur. So yes, Merlin is old. Like I said, he's lived for thousands of years. He's immortal too. I wonder how that came to be. You're going to find out right now. But as we found out how Merlin became immortal, I want to say this. Uh, so yeah, as I was saying about the recap, not flashback, sorry, recap. Rumple pulled the Excalibur from the stone, and now Emma's going to use it to probably snap out the light, and or do something evil with it. And in flashback, something went horribly wrong that caused Emma to be evil. So anyway, and they freed Merlin. And so anyway, we've done a lot this season, guys. Merlin. Now I didn't get to. I don't know if I said this last time. Now I bet you were expecting Merlin to be an old bearded wizard, like from the Disney version, but no, he is young, and and once upon a time loves to once upon a time likes to be respectful to other races, so they try to give roles to other people. So we got an African American Merlin, and he's pretty awesome at it. And same with the Rapunzel we have too. So and so anyway, so I think that's kind of cool how unlike Disney, who always does a lot of movies with a bunch of white people in it, I like how Once Upon a Time gets diverse and stuff. We got a really good Merlin right here. I wonder, he's a good actor. I wonder what other things he's in. He's about to pull the Grail from the stone. Not Excalibur, the Grail from the stone. And we just saw what happened. Remember the villain of King Arthur's time that turned into dust? Um, Merlin's time, I don't think he was a villain. He was just anxious to get water. He turned into dust. Merlin's best friend just turned into dust. And, because he wasn't worthy of the water, but Merlin was. Merlin has magic. The cup, the whole water of heaven pretty much gave him magic. Whoa! Merlin has a it's a gift from, like, the gods or something, and it's like you pray for water, like, you're in the middle of a desert and you're praying for water, and then all of a sudden, the Lord throws out a cup in the middle of the desert on a stone, and it's only meant for you. Anyone else who touches it turns into dust. You must be special. It's crazy. So Merlin, before it was a sword, it used to be a grill, a holy grill. Now I think that is in the King Arthur legend, but not in the Disney version. So when I watched the show for the first time, this was the first I heard of it. The holy grill pulled from the stone. That was kind of weird to say at the time. Yes, love is helpful for those who are struggling with evil. Love is a great way to help people resist temptation. 500 years ago. So 500 years before the age of Arthur means like it's a 500 years after Merlin got his magic. Now we're meeting him. Now he has an apprentice. I used to think that this was this little boy who became Merlin's apprentice. I used to think that was the apprentice we saw in season 4. Like when he turned into a mouse and then turned back into a human, got trapped in the hat. But it can't be him because he's not immortal. He could not live 500 years. Mhm. So we're just meeting Nimue right now, and I am very upset that my what is going on? Okay, hang on. Let's try this because like my computer's freezing again. Ugh, man, do we not have like what is wrong with my computer? So yeah, it's playing now, but it was frozen for a while. If in case you want to resync yourself, I'll try to quote what the characters are saying as they're saying it. Hang on. Merlin's growing flowers. Nimue gasps, smells the flowers, trying to wait for them to say something. You can see the future, Nimue says. Merlin responds. With you, for some reason, I cannot see the future. I have no idea. With you, some reason, I have no idea. Is what we just said. Was what he just said. I hope so. He can't see the future with Nimue for some reason. He's having a hard time with it. Oh, so she didn't introduce her name yet. I spoiled that. Whoops, I'm so sorry. So yeah, that's Nimue. Now you know. Nimue was Merlin's girlfriend. Emma's just making dream catchers. Hmm. Yeah. There is a way to make Excalibur whole again. This is exciting. So Emma's going with Merlin to find a fire spark, a spark of a fireball that will cause the sword to be reunited with the dagger. You know, probably got mine. I still have my Once Upon a Time stuff here from last week. I never put it away. I'm very bad at picking stuff off the floor. I'm leaving it right next to my desk on the floor. That's how I ruin my stuff, I guess. They're fine. I'm not rolling my chair over them or something. But I should get Excalibur because we're about to reunite the sword, and I don't have it with me. So also see, I said this in my post if you didn't read it. For tonight. Emma must summon the first dark one ever was born to forge it to get the fireball. The secret fireball is hidden in the first dark one that ever was born. So they have this, Rumple's been having voices in her head. She needs to summon the first dark one ever born. So not Rumple, someone else. So yes, so Merlin sees two futures here. For one, we get the fireball, and yeah, for one, we get the fireball, and Emma destroys the darkness, and everyone lives happily ever after. The other future, though, this kind of reminds me of I can't remember who it was. I think it was President Benson or President not Joseph Smith, Joseph F. Smith or something that had a vision of the church. If they continued polygamy, it would corrupt, and if they didn't, it would stay strong. That's kind of Merlin here. He has two visions. For one, if Emma could destroy the darkness and everyone lives happily ever after. For two, it could corrupt. She could give into the darkness, kill Merlin. She'll be the one who kills Merlin. Um, that's that's not actually what happens. But this is I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying what he just said in the vision. He said, "I if the dark one kills the dark one." I'll just say this: the dark one kills Merlin. The dark one kills Merlin, and Emma becomes the most evilest person the fairy tale realm has ever seen. Two visions here. Well, which one's going to come true? I think from the way we time jumped kind of spoils the end of that. It would have been nice not to do another curse in this season because that would be surprising. I mean, it would be sad. It'd be one arc that didn't have a happy ending if we didn't have the curse, right? But still, this plot twist wasn't as shocking as it could have been with the present day being out of the picture. Like, okay. Like, Once Upon a Time is known for having its flashbacks every episode, but like, I'm talking about like having this flashback be the present and have the flashbacks be something else, like how Arthur restored Camelot and stuff. Remember when we had that? We did have one episode. We did have one episode. Um, then this one's the second, where the flashback is the present, and a further flashback. Say we're back to 500 years ago when Merlin and Nimue were falling in love, and so it's where the flashback is the present, and the flashback within the flashback is the flashback. So I kind of wish the you know just the flashback was permanently the present every episode, and the flashback within the flashback was just the flash. I'm that sounds confusing. I hope you get what I'm saying. Basically, they should have not done another curse and did another time jump. Yep. Yeah, yep. Merlin. Nimue just said, you found the Holy Grail, Merlin." Nimue knows about the Holy Grail. She knows about it, and little does she know that Merlin's found it 500 years earlier. My computer froze again. This is upsetting. I'm gonna unplug it. Maybe if I unplug it, it will stop heating. I didn't freeze for too long. Share a life with you to the end than go on without you is what Merlin just said. He would rather spend a mortal life with her than immortal and watch her die without him. So if only they knew the plan of salvation like we do. Nimue wants to drink of the Holy Grail because they love each other so much. Nimue doesn't want to just live for 100 years and die. She wants to drink the Holy Grail and live forever with Merlin in on mortality. So anyway, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know about life after death, that's what they would want. If they fell in love with an immortal being, they would want to become immortal like them, so that they could be together forever. Luckily for us, we know of another way to be together forever, and that does not involve staying in mortality. Staying in the world of mortality. Just to clarify what I'm talking about, you know, what's better than that is immortality. Anyway, so yeah, Merlin puts um a ring on Nimue, so I guess they're pretty much engaged now. However, Merlin disagrees, making Nimue immortal. He wants to give up his immortality so that he could live an old life with her and grow old together and die together. So, and there's the guy who's been massacring her town, spying on Nimue. Mhm. They're trying to find a way to break into Arthur's castle so they could steal Excalibur. You can poof into Arthur's bedroom. That's funny. Yeah, Regina has magic. Selena when they were in the castle. Okay, it's freezing again, but I'll talk. When Zelina was in the castle, oh, it's unfrozen. When Zelina was in the castle, she was trying to plot a way out, and and Regina knew it the whole along. She wanted to escape, but luckily she didn't. And she said, "Well, if I know a way out, I know a way in." And she's willing to help the heroes out, but on condition that she can get her magic back. So they still don't trust the Wicked Witch yet. They found the secret entrance that she was talking about, but they want to make sure their plan succeeds. Once we get the sword and we get back out, we'll talk and release the puff, and trust her more. But anyway, they want to see their plan succeed first. If it fails, then Zelina's stuck because she has the cuff that prevents her from using magic. So anyway, she's just waiting. She's just waiting on trust. And Snow White's the guard duty. She's watching Selena while they go in and steal a sword. Nimue is like watching in terror as her husband pours a poisonous potion on a guard's helmet, and it melts, scaring him away to death. And if they pour it on a flesh and bone, what will? Hmm. Flesh and bone, teeth and bones. Oh, so yeah. So that potion, he just. This is war. Whoa. King Arthur has a potion that can melt helmets in like a second. That means if it pours on a human, it will melt the skin right off. Teeth and bones. Mm. Emma confessed her truth to Merlin. She did some dark things like pull her son's girlfriend's heart out and almost killed Merida. And if she digs deep down, darkness is winning, is what she's confessing. And Merlin is like, "Oh no, we got to stop you, Emma, before it's too late." Years earlier in Camelot. And if you're still trying to sync back with us because of all the freezing and that's been happening. It just froze again as I was saying that. Oh my goodness, we're having a bad marathon night. Oh my goodness. Maybe my laptop needs to sit on something else. I wonder if there's something else we could put this on. I'm sorry, you're seeing a messy room right now. Let's try this. I put it on top of a board game. I wonder how that looks on my live stream. Okay, my head is still showing. That's good. Got you see a little bit more of the Back to the Future posters. Okay, everything looks good. Everything looks good. Okay, I'll help you guys in a second. Hang on. Guilty. Merlin just said guilty. Does that feel guilty, Merlin? Nimue is talking. It shouldn't be the way things work. Take our taken. If I had magic like yours, this is one of the few episodes I'm not as familiar with. It's not one of my favorites. So sorry, I'm having a hard time, but I'm saying a few words that she's saying right almost right off the bat. So hopefully you got it. She's worried. She's worried. She still wishes she had Merlin's power, and she's worried. She's worried that she's she's also worried about all the people the assassin murdered that she loved. You're trying to hunt down the assassin murderer. So so they found the murderer and he's very close. So they're trying to make a run for it. And Nimue's trying to convince Merlin, that you could just kill him with one flick of your hand. And and Merlin was like, well, if I use my magic to kill, it might turn my magic dark, and he doesn't want to risk that. You know, he wants to keep using his magic for good. Okay. Okay, I noticed that every time my screen freezes, it's when I'm watching the show on full screen. So I'm minimizing the screen to see if that helps, and it's not even helping. My goodness, what is going on? My computer must be really hot right now. Something. We're getting to a very good episode after this, and I don't want it to keep pausing like that. It's not pausing anymore, but I'm just talking about it. It's like crazy. S Selena hasn't screwed us yet. I know that line pretty well. Regina just said that Selena hasn't screwed us yet. That's where we're at. So now Snow and and now Snow White and Wicked Witch are having a conversation. And it's frozen again. Okay, this is gonna be a tough live stream to stay on sync with all these loading interruptions. Wicked Witch is trying to be in pain. Oh, the Wicked Witch! That's our Wicked Witch! She was never to be trusted, even when she was locked away in asylum since the beginning of the season. Anyway, she just knocked Snow White out. Snow White tried to check in on her because she looked like she was in pain, and then it was a trick. She tied it. She's tying her up, putting a thing around her mouth and stuff. Poor Wicked Witch. She'll always be wicked for us. You know, you gotta remember, she's also pregnant. Hmm. Wow. So we're seeing it right now. Um, Merlin and Nimue are going to the fire of like ashes or something. It's a special kind of magic fire. They're taking a fireball from the fire and putting it on the Excalibur, reforming its shape into a sword. Now we know how the what is it called? Um the no my name's the not the Excalibur. The Grell. The Grell on the stone becomes the sword in the stone now. Then we just saw the Grell turn into a sword. I could not think of it for some reason. Grail just slipped my mind. That was the word I was looking for. The Holy Grail. Yes, it would not bring you joy. If you use the sword, you'll become the dark. This is a flashback of how the first dark one was born. We're about to find out who the first dark one will be. It looks like the massacre person killed Nimue. The one who's been assassinating villages and stuff just killed Nimue. Now now Merlin is upset because he just lost the love of his life, of his immortal life on Earth. Aw. Now Emma and Nimue I mean, Emma and Merlin are now up here. The fire is long gone now, but Emma and, Merlin are up here to get a spark from the fire as well. But not to turn the Excalibur back into a grail or anything, it's to reunite the sword with the dagger. The Excalibur got broken in half. Emma must summon the first Dark One that ever was born. Now she's about to do that. We're gonna find out who the first Dark One ever was. Before Rumple, before Zozu. Remember Zozu, who was the Dark One, just prior to Rumple. We're talking about the first Dark One before Zozu as well. There's been many, many Dark Ones over the years. Emma's like, "Is it safe? If I conjure the first Dark One, is it safe?" And Merlin's like, "No, it's not safe at all. You're in great risk of turning evil. And I gave you the weapon to kill me. You have a choice. You can kill me Emma or summon the first dark one. She's gonna try. She's struggling very hard to take the straight and narrow path right now. Emma is. And it's frozen again. What? This has been a struggling episode. Episode 7 is more struggling than episode 6 was. Um, because in episode 6 we only froze at in the last minute, and now we're freezing a lot. Okay, it's unfrozen. Okay, I wonder if I plug it in because that thing's not because unplugging it is not really helping. It's just in her head. She's summoning the first dark one, and the first dark one just appeared. You did it. Yes. It's not a him. It's not a him. It's not a him. So who's the first dark one? Nimue, it shows on the dagger. Plot twist. Just like Luke, I am your father moment. Nimue is the dark one. If you thought it was the assassin who would turn into the first dark one, you're wrong. We're about to find out how she became the dark one. Yeah, the guy who's been killing villages said, "I'm gonna use this to kill you, Merlin." And he's like, "That sword was not meant to be a weapon." Well, then why did you turn it into a sword? Why did you turn the Grell into a sword in the first place? Mhm. Uh-huh. Nimue, plot twist was immortal because she drunk from the Grell when Merlin wasn't looking and faked her death just so Merlin wouldn't catch on that she wasn't dying. So, yeah. Merlin's trying to tell Nimue, like, love your enemies, don't kill, don't revenge them, basically. This guy killed her home and her family, and all she wants is revenge. She wants to kill the murderer of her family. And she just did that. She pulled the guy's heart out and crushed it. But, you know, and then the whole big fireball that turned the Grell into Excalibur is now just a little small dot of art of hotness. It's still fire. It's a small dot of spark fire. It's a small spark. It went from a giant fire to a small spark. Yep. Nimue Nimue doesn't want to cut anyone's immortality. So she breaks the sword in half so that it can't cut anyone's immortality, which means therefore Merlin can't be mortal and Nimue can't be mortal. They're forced to be immortal for all eternity. Like, I can't say for the rest of their lives because they don't really have a death here. Of course, though, Nimue didn't stay a dark one. She somehow gave the darkness to someone else at some point, and she died eventually. Anyway, Merlin is apologizing to Nimue. But like not the way you would expect. It's like it's not sorry I did this. Sorry I couldn't save you, keep you on the straight and narrow. After because once you kill someone, that's the path to the dark side. The darkness takes over. If Emma would have killed Merida, that's what would have happened as well. And luckily she didn't. Emma's been able to resist up until this point, and she's still resisting right now. But she's been resisting so far is what I'm trying to say. And Merlin and Nimue easily came to darkness a lot easier than Emma did, and that's how we got our first dark one. That's how we got our first dark one. Nimue's our first dark one. Merlin's girlfriend. Imagine you watch your own girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse become the new dark one. That's gonna be sad. Now you know how Hook feels about Emma. Last thing you want to see is your spouse turn to the dark side. Wow, Emma's and now Emma has a new devil on her shoulder, and it's not Rumple, it's Nimue, and she's more enforceful and more pressured, and it reminds me of what we just read in Compolemi of Moses on the mountain, being, seeing Christ, and then right after seeing the devil. Emma is like was just with Merlin, and now he's seeing Nimue. She's like forcing her to kill Merlin, and she's almost giving into it. She has her hand, like, literally on his throat almost. Emma's resisting. That's good. Merlin and Nimue just said, "If you don't kill Nimue, you'll go. I mean, if you don't kill Merlin, you'll go back to being nothing. You'll go back to being nothing." And I was like, "I was never nothing," and we can all agree with that. Before she was the Dark One, she was the savior of Storybrooke. She was destined to break a curse. She was special. She was the product of true love. She's been a lot of things. She's been special. She's never been nothing, and that's the flaw that Nimue exposed that caused Emma to resist temptation. If Nimue wanted to be a better tempter, she wouldn't say that. She was never nothing to begin with. The better thing to say would be, "You'll just be a weak savior or something." I don't know. That probably wouldn't work either. Maybe Emma would have resisted regardless what she said. She did. She got the amber. She got the little small spark that was left. That when Nimue first became the Dark One, the fire almost disappeared. There was only a small spark left, and Emma has that last spark of hope. She grabbed the last physical spark of the fireball from Nimue, conjuring the first Dark One that ever was born, and saved Merlin's life. So she chose the right path. She's back on the straight and narrow. She was tempted. She almost fell off, but she's staying on the straight and narrow as hard as possible. So it looks like Vision One is coming true so far. So far. So what happened after Nimue became the Dark One? Uh, after she cut the sword in half of it became the dagger, and the other half went into the stone. And the apprentice was watching, obviously. Yep. The Dark One dagger is to prevent the Dark One from the Reign of Terror. She took the mask of her murderer that killed all her family members and took it upon herself. So now she's the massive murderer of herself, the Dark One. Nimue is the first Dark One because the other guy was not immortal, so he doesn't count. Yeah, even the apprentice is like, too bad you couldn't see your future. Never think like that. So this is a good message from Merlin. Too bad you couldn't see your future. You could have prevented her falling to the dark side. And Merlin was like, never think like that. Life is made of moments, and he would not change a thing if he relived his love story with Nimue. He would not change a thing. Everything is supposed to happen for a reason. Even those who make wrong choices, those wrong choices are supposed to happen for a reason. It's beyond what we know. So so we can't just flash on the past and say, "I wish I would have done this or done that," because everything happens for a reason. So anyway, yeah, that's how the dagger became the dagger and how the Excalibur became a half Excalibur. I need to get my sword, huh? Because we're about to reunite the sword in a second. It looks like they found Excalibur. It looks like the Wicked Witch secretly teamed up with Arthur, and together they made a plan to capture the heroes. Regina was about to fight with Zelina with a fireball, but she's pregnant. Remember, you don't want to kill the baby. Snow White's kidnapped and sitting on a chair. Arthur and the Wicked Witch are really working together here. She's teaming up with villains right now. Wicked Witch can never be good. Mer- Merlin is on that sword now. This is not good. This is not good. Now Merlin is remember the dagger. It takes your agency away. And now that the Excalibur has Merlin's name on it, he's forced to do Arthur's bidding. So never be the Dark One. Never be immortal. Well, unless it's by no, never be immortal from a grill. Just through the plan of salvation, yes, but never through the grill. Okay, never be immortal by drinking a grill, because then every magic comes with a price, and the price is you get your name put on a sword, and you lose your agency. You have to do whatever anyone commands you to do, whether it's good or evil. And Merlin's forced to do some evil now because of King Arthur. Emma, with the help of the Wicked Witch, she told Arthur all their sneak in secret plan, and as they came to the sword, Arthur caught them in the crossfire or something, and now he's gonna capture all of them. Wow. hmm Merlin, he conjured Merlin to come here, and now Merlin is forced to do Arthur's bidding, and 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 all Arthur seeks is glory, glory and power. That's all he cares about, and it's heartbreaking because that's not the kind of person Merlin wanted Arthur to be. He kind of feels bad. He kind of feels bad because Merlin was trapped in a tree, so he couldn't guide Arthur on the right path. So he stir off the string. Merlin was supposed to be like the Holy Ghost to King Arthur, and because he was trapped in a tree, he couldn't fulfill that role. So Arthur fell off the straight and narrow, and is kind of like and is like he is pretty much fallen away here. King Arthur is, and Merlin is like, "Sorry, I wasn't there to guide you, but too late now. You're a villain." Never too late. Come on, Arthur. You need a redemption arc, and so does Emma. So anyway, Merlin forces. So King Arthur forces Merlin to tie everyone up to a tree and capture them. So Emma's family's in danger now, and Emma has not yet got rid of the darkness. So something bad is about to go down next episode, and I need to grab my sword. I need to do this. Let me hurry. Sword. I have no idea what my sword is. He was Emma was trying to get rid of the dark, and that's why Nimue was trying to stop her. But this time she's trying to get rid of the light, so Nimue's not trying to stop her. I don't know where the sword is. She's lighting the fireball, and I'm not ready. Gone nowhere. Closet or anywhere. Where was it after I showed it to you guys last week? That's a problem. I can't find it. Oh well. Oh, it's right here. There's the sword on screen. and the light that puts two halves together. And there comes the flashback of Merlin reminding Emma to leave the sword alone. Don't touch it. Merlin said bad things will happen. The fate of the people you love arrest upon it. The moment you grab that sword, it's over. Don't grab it. Don't take it. Don't take the power. Don't do it. Emma, temptation. Back away. Back away. Oh, she grabbed it. Something bad is coming down. Hang on, I got it. Silver. There we go. Emma's gonna do something evil with it. Rumpel pulled it out, and now she reunited the sword with the dagger. So what's gonna happen next? We're gonna find out. And there were no more pauses for the rest of that episode. That was so nice that it didn't freeze up on us. Sorry, I ran away trying to find that sword, and it was right under my desk the whole time. I looked everywhere else in my closet, and then all I had to do was go under my desk instead of unplugging the headphones and running. Oh, I am so sorry, guys. We're gonna start the next episode, but I hope it doesn't freeze a lot this time. But anyway, but yes, this next episode is really gonna cry your balls out. I mean, cry, eyeball your eyes out. How do you say that phrase? I always say it wrong. I always say it wrong. Oh my goodness. Laugh. No, it's not a thing to laugh your balls out. Crying my tears. No, that's not how it goes. I don't know how it goes. My mind is dead. But yeah, you're gonna cry to death. I'll just say that you're gonna cry to death, because something's gonna go down. Remember, I compare this to Star Wars when Anakin was getting visions of his wife dying in childbirth, and he wanted to do all in his power to stop it, and that caused him by betraying the Jedi and becoming Darth Vader. And that was very sad to watch for those who were a fan of the original trilogy. Whether regardless of your controversy on the prequel trilogy, for those who did like it, you probably were sad to see what happened. There's a similar story here. Now Emma's not as evil as like killing children. She's not that Anakin leveled, but like the tragic story is about the same. The reason that she's fallen to the dark side is just as bad as like someone dying during childbirth. So this is about to get very sad here. Yeah, someone Emma loves is gonna die. I hate to spoil that, but we're gonna watch that right now. So get ready, because this is the episode I was looking forward to tonight, and I hope there's not a lot of pauses. I just hope my internet stays steady. I mean, it has, because our live stream's been going on so far. It's only been the show that's been loading. It's like something's wrong with Disney Plus or my computer. So let's get started, because I want to start this right now. 43 minutes, 45 seconds if you have Disney Plus. DVD is something else. But if you need more clarification, Season 5, Episode 8, it's called Birth. And it's kind of funny. That title's funny. Birth. Someone's about to be born and someone's about to die in this episode. So you're about to find out a major character is about to be born. A major character is about to die. So here we go. Now, when I mean born, that means two ways. There's someone. It means both ways. Someone's going to be born. Someone's going to be born normal, like as a baby, and someone's going to be reborn as something else. Like the term I'm trying to use is like when you're baptized, you know how you use the phrase born again. Someone's about to be born again. I don't want to say any more details. What I mean by born again is like there's going to be a new dark one. Just to clarify what I mean here, there's going to be a new dark one. I just wasn't sure if I should say that or not. I hate to spoil things, but so here's a better way to say it. There are two people that are going to be born in this episode. Someone literally going to be born, and someone figuratively going to be reborn. And anyway, like how Anakin was reborn as Darth Vader. Like, that was a better example. Anyway, so get ready. This is like it's not a prequel because there was many Once Upon a Time things that happened before this, but like this is like Revenge of the Sith vibes here. So So get ready. It's not the same plot as Revenge of the Sith, but it's way different. In fact, doesn't even relate, but it's just as sad. So get ready, get tissues. We're about to start the episode. Someone's Emma's journey to the dark side will finally be explained, and her dark plan will finally be revealed. Here we go. Oh, I forgot to give you a countdown. Let me hurry that. Three, two. I pushed play already, but I'm rewinding. Let me give you a countdown. Three, two, one. Now. I hope you didn't push play when I said one. When I said no. Good job. Emma just reunited the sword. Oh, I didn't mention that. Emma gave Hook a lucky ring. It's his lucky ring, and that's how he survived all these years, despite him not wanting to kill the Dark One. Because Rumble's not the Dark One. Emma is, and Hook doesn't want to kill his true love. So the heroes in Storybrooke just found out Arthur's evil and intentions, and that he lied to them, and so now they're about to approach him with the lie. I'm gonna put the dagger away, or the Excalibur. This is the dagger. I broke it in half, not in half the way it is in the show, but I call this the dagger, and this is Excalibur. I wonder what it looks like on screen. Let me see. Let me see if you guys can see this. Yes, you can see this. Okay, and let's see. Yalla. Let's see if I can get this whole thing on screen. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Kind of if I diagonal it. Okay. Sorry. Focus on the show. Only one person can destroy the Dark One, and that's Nimue. Arthur has no idea who Nimue is. That's Merlin's girlfriend. Arthur just makes a run for it. Uh-huh. Arthur knocks the table and runs out of his tent. And Hook runs right after him. Hmm. Hook went after King Arthur, and as King Arthur was about to kill Hook, um, Emma saved Hook's life with the Excalibur. Yep, Arthur used that to control Merlin in the flashback. We just saw that. And Emma knocked him out, obviously. So while he's knocked out, they're going to put him in prison. So Hook wasn't the one who captured Arthur from escaping. It was Emma. Hmm. All Hook wants to know is why Emma wants Excalibur. Why is it so important to her? What's her reasons? So plot twist: Emma spoils some truth here. Usually it's a cover up, and usually it's her uh finding loopholes. What is it called? Manipulation. But she's right about one thing. It's for Hook. You want to know why I'm doing all this? Why I have Excalibur? Why I want to use it? I'm doing it for you. He's doing it for Hook, which doesn't make sense now, but you will understand by the end of this episode. Emma has the fire that her and Merlin went up to the hill to get, the fire that she grabbed from the first dark one in her head. She found the small fire spark of Prometheus. Yeah, so Emma came back to get rid of her darkness, and unfortunately, no one's here. Neither is the sword. Everyone failed. Um, Arthur has everyone tied up to a tree, so this is not good. And our episode froze. I was hoping this would not happen. Henry, so where's Merlin? Of course, he's missing too. Merlin was supposed to be with Emma, and he disappeared. So Granny's throwing the key, and everyone just is frozen in time. They're not moving, and and Merlin secretly walks into Granny's. So Merlin can see the future, but he's not perfect at seeing the future. He has there are flaws, and there are all magic has its limits, and so he only sees bits and pieces. And one thing he did not foresee is Arthur controlling him and kidnapping Emma's family. Hmm. Hmm. Nimue killed after someone killed her parents and siblings and whatever. She wanted to kill the man who did it, and Marlon's reminding Emma, do not seek vengeance, do not make the same mistake as Nimue. Just because Arthur kidnapped your family doesn't mean you should kill them. Kill him. Arthur's in jail as we speak, and he doesn't know anything about Nimue, so they're leaving him in jail where he can rot and stay for a while because he's no longer important. Arthur's no longer important to the story. Let's leave him in jail. Happy ending for him. Of course, he's still a big plot. He's still a big plot um tool in the flashback. Hmm. They don't know what happened in Camelot. They can't help Emma if they don't know what happened. Uh, Belle has the crossbow. He was planning to use it on Emma, but it was Hook. It was Hook who walked through the door, so you can put the weapon down. Yeah, yeah. Dark ones are so clever. They like to make people believe they changed and became good. So we've seen that happen with Belle. When Rumple and her first got married, he only pretended to be good, only to backfire later on and after the Frozen arc. And so we know how dark ones work. They sometimes pretend to redeem themselves and fake repent, only to backfire it. Like, it was all part of the plan. Pretend to repent of their sins and then only to like plot twist, I was doing evil all along, just behind the scenes. That's how Rumple's been until Emma became the dark one. Now, and he's not evil right now. 'Cause he had a perfect character arc, up till the end of the first half of season 3, and then they kind of didn't know what to do with him, and they had to keep him on the show because the actor is really good at the character. You know? It's kinda like Star Wars sequel trilogy. Just kind of wasting Rumple's character and ruining it at this point. But he's no longer the Dark One. It's good to see him like that. 3 weeks earlier. This is 3 weeks earlier. Remember when we had those 6 week flashbacks? We're now 3 weeks ago. And they've been in present for quite a while. So this is probably about a week before before the events of episode 2. Not episode 1, because episode 1, was before this time jump. So Rumple is being the devil on Emma's shoulder again, tempting Emma to give into the darkness and not light the flame. But she can't do it anyway. And she goes, okay, then do it, light the flame. And Emma can't. The devil on Emma's shoulder says you can't light the flame because you're not ready to give up the darkness. Which could be true. What if Emma loves the darkness? That's the wrong thing to feel right now, but Henry's offering some motivation to help her get rid of the darkness. This is good. Except that my freaking computer just froze again. Oh man, we still got 30 minutes to get through. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. We were starting on time too. We were good on staying on schedule, and all this pausing is putting us behind schedule. Luckily, we don't really do Q&A anymore. No one really asks questions. So Emma's realizing the reason why she can't light the flame is because she's not ready to give up the darkness. That is the wrong decision to have, but she thinks she needs to use her evil powers one last time. Nah, I think Anakin thought the same way when he went to go see how Dooku was dealing with Palpatine, and that's what caused him to be Darth Vader. Honestly, as Anakin should have stayed in the council chambers, Emma should have just stayed at Granny's because this is the almost pivotal. This is not the pivotal moment, but this is the start of the pivotal moment when she becomes dark and her journey to the dark side is complete. Tell us, Dark One, what are you gonna do? Wicked Witch says. I quoted her in one of my trailer posts. She's telling a bedtime story to her baby in her belly. Oh, whoa! Remember those onion rings Emma gave the Wicked Witch last episode? They were onion rings. They were magic. Her pregnancy is speeding. That's new. Unfortunately, Emma's plan involves the Wicked Witch, and she doesn't want to get the baby involved, so she needs the baby out. A baby is about to be born. So, in real life, a woman goes through 9 months of pregnancy, but in Once Upon a Time, magic can speed your pregnancy in all of like 5 minutes. So you could be pregnant for 5 minutes and give birth to a baby in 5 minutes instead of 9 months. How funny is that? Well, it has been more than 5 minutes. They make that joke later on in the series, which is why I used it. But anyway, when they talk about pregnancies and stuff, there's a conversation that involves the Wicked Witch saying, "Not since the Dark One made my pregnancy last only 5 minutes." Well, you got to remember when we found out Selena was pregnant, that was before the 6 week time jump, and we also had a 9 week time jump in season 4. So and like they could have announced she was pregnant, but that doesn't mean that's when she started getting pregnant. It could have happened remember she disguised as Marion. She could have been as pregnant as early as the Frozen arc. So 9 weeks plus 6 weeks equals 15, maybe plus a few more to cover all the events that's been going on. It's been about 20 weeks since she was pregnant, I would say. And that's about 5 months, four and a half. So she's only half pregnant. She's not, she shouldn't have a baby yet. And Emma's speeding her pregnancy because she's not going to wait 5 months to get to finish her evil plans. And we don't have 5 months either. This plot has to wrap up next week. So which is baby has to come out. So Hook just said something very powerful. He said Hook made a very he has rings and each ring has a story on his finger. He said there was one ring that belonged to his brother Liam and they made it and he made the sinful decision to follow the king and get the sapin from Neverland that caused him to die. And that was just after learning from the sin of his brothers, um Hook was saying that the ring reminds him that all sins can be forgiven, especially when there's love. And that is technically true. You know, all sins can be forgiven through the love of Jesus Christ. And that what we believe in the church. And so anyway, like I said, Once Upon a Time has some gospel principles in it, even though it's about fairy tales. There are some gospel truths that, I found in it growing up. The saddest story of all. So my question is, can Anakin be forgiven for killing all those children in the Jedi temple? That one's a hard one. Emma doesn't compare to that, but she has a similar tragic backstory. We're about to find out. So it turns out in the flashback, we're not in it, but Emma's trying to manipulate Hook right now about the past that she doesn't want to share with him. And part of that thing that she's manipulative about is the house, which is not actually a lie. It's true, but she's not really saying much other than the house. And Hook's like, well, this must be the part where you get to the truth. And Emma's like, almost there, almost. Let's kiss a few times first. But anyway, wow, plot twist. If Hook really knew what Emma was after, he would do all in his power to stop Hook, to stop Emma. Hook would do all in his power to stop Emma. And so whatever Emma's doing must be bad because if it's so bad that everyone's gonna stop her from doing it if she tells them, then it must be bad if she has to keep it a secret. Yeah, and Hook apparently in the flashback, Hook and Emma brought a newspaper with them to Camelot and decided to circle a house they wanted to buy. And that's how Emma got her house in Storybrooke. And our screen freezes on Dr. Well, who we haven't seen in season since season 3. Did you notice that Dr. Well has not made an appearance on the show since Snow White gave birth to her child? He's Frankenstein. He was popular in the show's first and second season, and then we only saw him a little bit in season 3 and not in season 4. And he comes back in season 5 with his hair blonde. My hair was blonde. Now, funny thing, we were just talking about Merida a couple episodes ago, and I was like, "Well, too bad we didn't watch this a few months ago because my hair was red." And now I'm like, Dr. Whale's hair is blonde, and that was like the beginning of this marathon. Man, if only he had his hair blonde instead of brown back then, that would have been perfect. But I'm glad my hair still matches Emma Swan's right now. So Regina's like, I think I have a way to protect the baby, but whatever happens to my sister, the Wicked Witch, well, we'll have to see. Hopefully, the Wicked Witch survives this birth encounter. I hate to have a pregnancy speed so fastly. If you could be pregnant for only 5 minutes, would you do it, or would you rather have this slow 9 months? Probably more painful when a pregnancy is that fast. Anyway, Emma tricks King Arthur with a fake fireball. That's not from the that's not the magical fireball that puts the sword together. It's a fake version of it, and it ties the Wicked Witch to a tree. This is a battle you cannot win. Merlin is forced to fight against Emma Swan. It's like lightsaber fights, but like with magic instead. They're throwing magic at each other. Savior magic, dark magic versus Merlin's magic. Now Merlin feels so bad because he wants Emma to win, but he's been alive for thousands of years and has played the good versus evil game for too long, and so Merlin defeats Emma. So no one can save now. Now Arthur forces Merlin to kill Emma's mother, and 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 he's choking her with vines right now. And he's like, they're trying to stop him, but they're all tied to a tree. Emma's trying to persuade Merlin. Merlin, you can fight it. You're the greatest sorcerer that's ever lived. If you can't outwit the darkness, then no one can. That's like telling the Lord, if the Lord can't fight the darkness, then no one can. You know, so like in real life, that's the thing. But in Once Upon a Time, that person is kind of like Merlin. Merlin's the greatest sorcerer that's ever lived, and like he better defeat the darkness, otherwise, good has no chance of winning. So yeah. Merlin did resist temptation. Even though he had no agency, he was able to use his immor- more he was able to use his immortality magic to withstand Arthur's control and not ignore Arthur's control and resist killing Emma's mother. So that was good. Now notice this. Arthur was a little upset that Merlin disobeyed his order. So he was, as Hook was able to escape from the vines of the tree, he tried to steal the sword from Arthur, and Arthur kind of cut him on the neck and on right there, and Emma just healed it. But the Excalibur is an eternal blade, and nothing can be healed from the cut. So it might be happy now, but just wait until that cut returns. So Hook, yeah, punched Arthur, and then her and the Wicked Witch made an escape for it. So obviously, good one. And Merlin is no longer in control of the evil King Arthur. So everyone's living happily ever after for now. But we're about to see Emma's thrall to the dark side. Hmm. Guys, get ready. Your tissues are just around the corner. We're halfway through this episode. Regina, having been tempted and fallen into the dark side herself as the evil queen, she knows what it's like to lose to the she knows what it's like to lose to the darkness and become evil. It is wrong to choose darkness over light, but it's also human. We all make mistakes, don't we? Wow. Regina gets a stern talk to the face for trying to control Emma and force the truth out of her. Give her Yeah. I mean, everyone deserves agency. You can't just use the dagger to force people to do what you want. Regina was just desperate to figure out why Emma can't let go of the darkness. Because the fire will only light if she's ready to let go, and she's not ready for some reason. Mm. You think it's not tragic now, but it will be. Because she will be ready in moments before getting rid of the darkness. Something's gonna go down. Wow, Regina presently off the subject of Camelot and Emma's journey to the dark side. Regina is protecting her sister, and it's crazy. The last thing she ever thought about was helping her sister give birth to this baby. As blonde hair, as blonde hair Dr. Will delivers it. It's a baby girl. It's a baby girl. So first we get a son, and when Snow White and Charming have their baby in season 3, no one gives birth to a baby in season 4, and now in season 5 we get a girl. It's not may not be the Wicked Witch makes a joke. It may not be green now, but it would. It won't for long. She wants to make the baby green like herself. Plot twist. Um, they thought now the only way to destroy light magic is the prize of a newborn child. It's kind of similar to the time travel spell, don't you think? So they all thought Emma was going to come and get the baby, but it would only be a problem if it was the baby she was after. She takes the Wicked Witch instead. If she wanted the baby, she wouldn't need to speed up her pregnancy. She could just wait. She would be a more patient woman, I bet, like the Snow Queen was, because the Snow Queen was patient too. She said she was a patient woman. I know things, guys, really well about the show. Yeah. Why does she need more dark magic? That's a good question. To de to destroy dark magic is different. Light magic, you need a prize of an unborn child, but dark magic? You just need to give your dark magic to someone else. Mhm. There are limits, however small. All magic comes with a price, and all magic has its limits, a baby would alter the spell. So she needed her pregnancy to be over in order for her Emma to steal the Wicked Witch and cut her magic with Excalibur. She doesn't wanna hurt anyone who doesn't have to, and babies is an exception of not hurting them. So that's why, Zelina's pregnancy lasted so quickly. I mean, we did find out she was pregnant in season 4, so it's been a while, and when this aired on TV, it was about 9 months later, you know, from the time that episode came out that she announced she was pregnant, but not 9 months in the show, it was only 20 weeks, as we said, so she wasn't supposed to be pregnant enough to give birth. It was way too fast. Only lasted barely 4 months, probably 3 and a half, since months are not exactly 4 weeks. Boys cannot keep secrets. Yes. So do you remember when Emma was about to become the Dark One, and, she told Hook that she loved him at the last second? She has a hard time admitting that she loves him. Like the same thing with Neil. She didn't say how much she loved Neil until he was dying. Well, not when he actually died, but when he was about to die for the first time, when he, when they went to Neverland. Anyway, every time when Emma can't admit her true feelings and until she's about to lose the person she loves. It's just her. She has a hard time admitting how much she loves someone. Hook reminds her that I'm a survivor. You don't have to worry about me. And I know you love me, Hook is trying to help Emma be brave, that she doesn't have to be ashamed of the feelings that she has for Hook. She wants a future with Hook, but it's hard to admit that when, that she has a hard time admitting her loving feelings. It looks like the light finally sparked, though, at the end of that little flashback scene. So it looks like she's ready to give up the darkness, and only something goes down, which we'll find out after these present day storylines finish. Wicked Witch can't cut off, you know. Apparently, the Wicked Witch got her magic back in Camelot. So another thing that won't be resolved tonight is how the Wicked Witch got the cuff back on her hand because, like, she has it on right now. She's had it in the present ever since. So how did she get it back on? That's probably that's not a convenient enough to care, but you know that even when we find out Emma's dark path tonight, the Camelot arc is not over yet. We still get to find out how she cast the curse. We get to find out more about the darkness, just a little bit more. But the meat and butter, the potatoes, the gravy, the meat and butter, the main meal is going to be finished tonight, and we'll start wrapping things up next. So, if that would have been today, if we were able to do this on the cruise ship, we would have found out how Emma became evil last week if I was able to go live on the cruise ship. But oh well, one little extra week for the Camelot arc. Notice that every other arc we've had an extra week. Neverland, 4 weeks. Wonderland, 5 weeks because of a girl. That didn't turn out well. 4 weeks for the Wicked Witch. 5 weeks for Frozen because I was sick. 4 weeks for the Queens of Darkness. 5 weeks for Camelot. I hope we only get 4 weeks of Underworld because that seems to be the pattern here with these half season arcs. Anyway. Emma's announcing her plan to the heroes right now. You'll be happier when Zelina is gone. Regina's shocked. Yeah, this is not the way, Emma, and you know it. She's tired of Regina miswanting her. Oh, she casts a protection spell so that none of the heroes can come in and stop her from killing the Wicked Witch. She wants to kill the Wicked Witch. She makes the excuse that she killed Neil, and that's why she's killing her, but that it's really just to get rid of her dark magic. And obviously, us heroes know there's a better way than killing someone else. Plus, we love our Wicked Witch. She just came back and faked her death. Well, that was a long time ago that she faked her death. But she only came back, like, not that long ago, like, at the end of last season. She's one of the only villains that's come back from the dead besides Maleficent. Remember when the Queens of Darkness kind of changed the scale of Once Upon a Time? Villains don't just come and die anymore. They can come back and play a pawn in the show. They're just a pawn, I can tell you that. But Wicked Witch, I bet you want her to stay, right? Do you think she's here to stay, or she's just another pawn in the overall series? She became series regular by this season. By the end of this season, she becomes series regular. So it's like they can't get rid of her. Wicked Witch is now almost the main character at this point, even though she didn't show up till season 3. Mhm. It looks like Hook found so a Wicked Witch escaped, and Hook wanted to take his chances. Hook wanted to take his chances to find a way to stop the Dark One, and that was a bad mistake because Emma caught Hook in her house. So yeah. So yeah, Emma caught Hook in his house because Hook didn't want to leave, and he found the squid ink just in the nick of time to freeze Emma. So Emma's paralyzed and can't move right now. And the Wicked Witch and the Wicked Witch realized that she couldn't run from her problems either because she needs to make the Dark One pay for her actions. A dream catcher that captures memories. Remember, we learned that with Henry's memories. So they just stabbed a knife through Hook, and he's not bleeding. He's not dead. He must be immortal somehow. But how is Hook immortal? We're about to find out as Hook gets his memories back, and here we go, jumping into his memories. Emma's about to get rid of the darkness, just as Anakin was about to come to stop Palpatine and help Mace Windu kill him. Right, this is the pivotal moment I was telling you about. You know, as soon as he threw Mace Windu out of the window, Anakin became fully Darth Vader, and even Obi Wan couldn't bring him back to the light. So here we go. Here we go. Like Revenge of the Sith. Here's our once fun time evil Darth Vader moment for Emma Swan. Fireball in her hand, putting it up in the air just like we saw in the present last episode. You know, when she reunited the sword and kept telling her not to grab it, and she did. She does it again in the flashback. Sword's being reunited, and as it's about to get back together, the hook. Remember when King Arthur stabbed Hook in the neck? A heal from Excalibur cannot be a cut from Excalibur cannot be healed. It's too powerful. Yup. It only seemed healed for a short time. A wound from it cannot be healed. Hope doesn't care. He's willing to die to let Emma destroy the darkness. But Hook's dying wish is to see Emma become good, and Emma doesn't want to have it. He's just telling Emma right now, please, please ignite the sword so I can see you destroy the darkness before I die. And doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to live without Hook. Mhm. Yep, you could create another dark one with the Excalibur. So there is a way to save Hook's life by turning him into a dark one, but by multiplying the darkness and making two dark ones. This is sad. In order to save Hook's life, they have to make him a dark one, which will multiply the darkness, cause it to make two dark ones, and Emma will step into the dark for good. Look, this is Emma's favorite flower. No, this was Nimue's favorite flower garden, but this was their favorite spot in Camelot, and this is where Hook's dying. He's dying in the lovely flowers of Camelot. So Emma has a plan to turn Hook into a dark one and help him fight the darkness, but Hook doesn't want to do that. His dying wish is to just see Emma win, but unfortunately, Emma's not going to do this. So when Hook was evil in the past and wanted to kill Rumpelstiltskin for killing Mila, it was hard for him to resist darkness, and he doesn't know if he could do it again. He's warning Emma not to turn him into a dark one because Hook could Hook had a Hook barely survived the darkness the last time he faced it. And turning him into a dark one again, he might not be able to choose the straight and narrow. It's not good enough for Emma. She has no choice. She can't handle a life. I remember crying during this. Mhm. If Regina would have done the same thing to Daniel and Robin, I mean, we saw that in season 5, episode 2. One of Arthur's knights stabbed Robin Hood, and Regina didn't care. She wanted Emma to use her dark magic to heal Robin Hood, and so Emma's putting relating that experience. I'm like, if you were willing to do anything to save Robin Hood, then I would be willing to do anything to save her. Emma's like sad right now, giving all that darkness as the Excalibur turns yellow. Hook disappears. All that darkness goes inside him. And the name on the dagger, not mine, says Killian Jones on it. Emma just got, oh, there's her white hair. There's her evil makeup. There's our evil swan. And another person is reborn. Cap- Captain Hook is now now a dark one. Boom. Boom. Talk about Sith Lords. There's always two, isn't there? Get it? The master and apprentice. There's always two lords, isn't there? Hook and Emma are both dark ones now. And he has his memories back. We're back in the present. He has his memories back. The truth is hard to swallow. Sometimes proof isn't enough. So Zelina has another thing up her sleeve. Instead of just returning Hook's memories, he has the sword. It's a glamour spell. Hook's name was there all along. That confirms the truth. If his name is on the Excalibur, that means he's immortal. And that's why when Zelina stabbed Hook with a knife, he didn't die because he was immortal. So much for our future, Swan. You just squandered your only chance to have a future with Hook. Now, now, Hook's evil too. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready to learn what else happened to Camelot? First, they have to take care of Emma. They're gonna do something evil to Emma now. And Hook's gonna get revenge. Pay Emma back for turning him into a dark one. And there's more to the story. As tragic as Hook's death may have caused Emma to go dark, just like Pat May, right? As much as Emma turned into Darth Vader, um, there's actually more to the story that we'll get into next week. As Zelina said, are you ready to learn what else happened to Camelot? Well, first we got to take care of Emma. So anyway, there's still one last piece of the puzzle, and it doesn't, and it does end with Emma casting the curse and stuff. So again, we'll get to it next week. Camelot's not over yet, but now we've gotten to the meat and gravy. Now we've gotten to the biggest plot twist you've been waiting to see since episode 1, which is how Emma became evil. And so yes, now there's two dark ones which cannot fit on a single dagger. You need the whole Excalibur to command both of them. So yes, we got evil Hook now. But with the end of the Camelot arc coming next week, he can only be evil for 3 episodes. So I mean, I still consider this arc a full evil Emma arc cuz she's been evil for what, 8, 9 episodes now. Man, we're getting to the end of this half of the season. So that's crazy. But that's it for our Once Upon a Time marathon. Let's see, no comments, nothing. All right, we got 5 minutes until we end the stream. So wow. So yes, because this episode did stop a lot towards the beginning, but it kind of stopped towards the second half of the episode, which is great. I'm glad my computer freezing has finally stopped. Honestly, if our computer didn't freeze, we would have been on schedule because it was, even though it did stop once in episode 6, we did end at 8:47 and I started at 8:50. and that episode that ended at not 8:50, sorry, 7:50. We started at 7:47, and then I mean, we ended the first episode tonight at 7:47, started at 7:50, and then it went till like it was supposed to go till 8:30, but it went till 8:35 because our my computer kept freezing up. But anyway, if it went till 8:30, I remember we started the next one around 8:38. Like, I wasn't talking too much in between, so it would have been 8:33, and we would have finished right about 8:45. I mean 9:15 to 9:16, probably 1 minute overtime, or maybe 2 minutes because of the little talking in between each episode. So anyway, we would have just been a couple minutes past 9:15 if the computer didn't freeze. But because it froze, it took 10 minutes away from us, which is fine. Which is fine because no one sends Q&A questions anyway, so there's not much to talk about it. But not much to talk about. But somehow I managed to say enough to keep this live stream going until 9:30 for some reason. So that's why if you look in my live stream description, I changed it from 15 minutes of Q&A to just 15 minutes of wrapping up. But anyway, anyway, yeah. So like last time, the only reason we went past 9:30 was I was showing you my Once Upon a Time books I got for Christmas. Since I already did that, hopefully that's not what's going to cause us to go overtime this time. Our live stream is supposed to be 2 hours and 40 minutes when you count the 10 minutes before 7. And so, last week it was 2 hours and 52 minutes. I mean, like, I've gone over 40 minutes before. It was just 2 hours and 42 minutes before. I've gone a couple minutes overtime for talking too much. But we went 10 minutes overtime, which is not normal, and that's because I was showing you my books. So this time that will not happen. I got nothing else to say other than next week, here's what to expect. We get another, I told you we were going to find out about Merida's father. We are getting an episode like that. In fact, I have to tell you this, and I'll tell you in a minute. Let me tell you one thing about each episode. So a Merida-focused episode. Then we'll find out how Emma cast the curse, and the last thing that we need to know about Camelot. There's something else that happened in Camelot. Because just like Emma, when she first became the Dark One, she wasn't evil right away. We're going to see Hook's path to the dark side. He's been to the dark side before. But then thanks to loving Emma, that's kind of redeemed him in a way. It's like if Darth Vader fell in love with someone and decided not to be Darth Vader anymore. Like, that did not happen. I mean, I think it was, I guess if you count his son Luke, he had love for his son Luke. That's what caused him, anyway, to turn back into Anakin Skywalker in a way. But anyway, sorry. I'm relating this too much to Star Wars. But anyway. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so we're going to find out Hook's path to the dark side again for the second time. And, this time he's not, this time it's not by agency of his choices. It's by Emma's choices of turning him into a Dark One. And which, since he's battled darkness before when wanting to kill Rumpelstiltskin, it's gonna, he warned Emma he was unsure if he could resist the temptation being the Dark One again. He's never been the Dark One before, but he's faced darkness before, and being the Dark One might be too hard on him. So we're gonna see Hook's path to the dark side, and then the last episode next week we'll wrap up the Camelot arc where we have to stop Hook's evil plan. So first, we're gonna find more out. We're gonna wrap up Merida's storyline. Then we're gonna find out how Hook's path to the dark side and leading up to casting the curse. And then we're gonna wrap up the Camelot arc. Because by two episodes next week, we'll have all the pieces of the episode, all the pieces of the Camelot arc, and there'll be nothing else to do but wrap up the episode. Kind of like the Frozen arc. After we killed the Snow Queen, we really didn't need to see Elsa and Anna again, but it was nice to see them get a happy ending in one more episode. So that's going to be the Camelot arc. Wrap up episode of everyone. Unfortunately, unlike Frozen, they're not going to get back to Camelot. Everyone's going to live in Storybrooke. But anyway, ooh, earwax, gross. How did this get on my... Okay, that's gross. There's a lot of earwax in my ear, I guess. It overpowered the earbud. But anyway, that was kind of gross. But anyway, a lot of things exciting next week. Now, I would end the live stream right now because it's 9:30, but I told you earlier I was going to say something and I would come back to it. So here's me coming back to it. With the Merida thing. So let me say this. Remember in season 4, when about halfway through the Frozen arc, we had a 2-hour episode of Once Upon a Time? We kind of split that in half tonight. You watched the first half. It was supposed to be a one conjuncted episode. And I told you in this marathon we're going to watch it the way it aired. And I just broke that rule. Let me explain. So we've had mostly these are season finales. Our first one was our 2 hour season finale of season 3. Then we had the Frozen one. Then the Queens of Darkness. Neverland didn't have one. But they were all real 2-parters. Now season 5, you see and again, this is the reason why I didn't want to break the rule. Remember I told you in our original schedule, before I got sick, before a girl, before I traded Thanksgiving for Midway, before the schedule changed, the very first draft of our marathon schedule had season 5 only lasting 7 weeks. Mainly because season 1 lasted 7 weeks. Season 2 lasted 7 weeks. Season 3, 8 weeks. Wonderland, 4 weeks because it's a short series. Season 4, 8 weeks. Anyway, half of the seasons in the show were 8 weeks, and half of them were 7 weeks. And because since season 1, season 2, and season 7 were going to be 7 weeks long, I wanted to break the odd number, and I wanted to make it 4 seasons, 4 and 4, except Wonderland, it's 4 weeks. But anyway, still, it would have been 8 weeks if it was a longer season. Anyway, so counting the Wonderland series, 4 seasons plus 4 seasons. I wanted 4 seasons to be 8 weeks long, and I wanted us to get through 4 seasons 7 weeks long. And so I was trying to go through the show. The way I mapped it out, it didn't work with season 3 or season 4 or season 6. And Wonderland was too short to make it 8 weeks. So anyway, I came up with the decision to make season 5 7 weeks long, just to make it even. So 1, 2, 5, and 7. But the only way season 5 could be 8 weeks long is if we did a bunch of 4-episode nights. Like, remember in season 2, when our first night we watched 4 episodes, then about halfway through season 2 we watched 4 episodes, and then we watched 4 episodes at the end. That was going to be season 5. 4 episodes at the beginning, 4 episodes in the middle, 4 episodes at the end. And then as we watched season 2, and people were, and now we watched season 1, and people saying we were going too fast and they could barely catch up with 3 episodes a week. I still committed on doing 3 episodes a week, but if people were barely keeping up with the marathon with just 3 episodes a week, I definitely didn't want to do 4 too much. So at the end of season 1, we did 4 episodes, and then season 2 came along, and we did 4 episodes like 3 times. And I said, I promised you, like in season 3, we weren't going to do 4 episodes at all. And, because it just worked that way. And so I remember after season 2, when people were getting behind and they said we were doing too many episodes every night. And I wanted to, okay, what can I do to make sure we stay at 3 episodes for most of the time? And I promised you that besides season 5, this wouldn't happen again. But then I decided, you know what? I can do one better. I can make season 5 not 4 episodes at all. Just like, I could have done that with season 2, but at the time it was already too late. And we already almost finished the season when people started complaining about the 4 episodes too often thing. And so anyway, but I decided to make season 5 an extra week long and make it 8 weeks. So only 3 seasons get 7 weeks. But get this, when I canceled the weekend in the summer, when I traded Midway, it just lined up perfectly that we finished season 2 before Midway. When I traded Thanksgiving for Midway, I decided to send out a video that would air at the same time as our normal live streaming, and that would make up for our 8th week of season 2. Same with season 1. On Mother's Day, when I purposely planned to skip Mother's Day, even in the original schedule, I planned a ranking video to make season 1 8 weeks long. And for season 7, I do have a video planned for after we finish the series. So our final live stream will not be the series finale. There will be one more after that. So anyway, so that's why, now every season has 8 weeks because, I did that. But anyway, but at first I didn't. And some of them were going to be 7. Anyway, because not every season has specials, and the specials is what makes it an extra week long. So anyway, so even with the specials, I was going to make season 5 7 weeks by doing a lot of 4-episode nights. And then I decided, you guys were talking about how it was too much for you. So I decided not to do that. However, consequently, by doing 3 episodes a night, that cut our 2-hour episode. The only way to do our 2-hour episode together was to do 4 episodes on some weeks. And so since you guys didn't like that, I ended up sacrificing this rule breaker just to do, just so that you guys can have lesser episodes each week. So that's why we're splitting this 2 hour episode in half. So in Frozen, the Frozen arc, we couldn't, there was 25 episodes in total. So we had to do 4 episodes at the beginning of the season. That's what caused us to keep our 2 hour episode together last season. But we don't have a special for the second half of season 5. So there's only 24 episodes this time. And so we had no reason to do 4 episodes at all this season. And so I sacrificed less episodes and splitting this 2 hour episode in half just so we can have lesser episodes each week. So I'm sorry, so in reality, I guess we'll have to finish this episode that we just watched next week because it's a 2-parter. But I'm kind of glad because even though these episodes aired back to back, they actually feel like 2 distinct episodes. And I'm glad that even streaming services, and I'm not usually glad about this because they split their 2 hour episodes in half. I'm for one glad that this one got split in half because they're actually 2 distinct episodes that just got put together because of schedule purposes on ABC Network. So anyway, when I thought about that, I finally decided that it wasn't bad that these 2 episodes got separated versus the other one should stay together. So anyway, I'm kind of okay splitting this 2 hour episode in half. So yes, we're gonna find out what more happens in Camelot next week with the other half of the episode we just watched. But anyway, just to let you know the reason I'm breaking that rule. And plus, if we had to do 4 episodes a few nights for this season, we would have this would have been the one season we couldn't separate the 2 arcs. Usually we like to end the arc one week and start the next arc the following week. But how it would have happened if we done 4 episode nights is that we would have done half Camelot and half. I'm not going to spoil the next arc. Half Camelot, half next arc next week is what would have happened. So the other choice was either to put the 2 arcs into one night or split the 2 hour episode in half. And I decided that following the rule of splitting the 2 season arcs in half was more important than splitting than keeping the 2 hour episode together. So I chose the broke one rule so we could keep the other as well. So yes, next week we're not watching the second half of season 5 at all. We'll just finish the Camelot arc like we did with the other seasons before with Frozen and Neverland. We'll finish the arc that we're on only next week. And then the following week we'll start the arc, the following arc, just to keep, because it's like 2 separate conversations that are not meant to be together. So anyway, sorry, I hope I explained that well. But yes, technically we were supposed to watch the episode we were just watching is a 2 hour episode, and it's not meant to end the way it did. So yes, Hook's gonna find out more of what happened in Camelot, but we'll save that for next week. Until then, have a great night, guys. I still went overtime, did I? I am so sorry. But we'll end the live stream now. It's 9:40. I went 10 minutes overtime, 12 minutes, but still, we'll just say 10 because it's normal for me to go 2 minutes overtime. We went 12 minutes overtime because I was showing you Once Upon a Time books, and now I went 10 minutes overtime explaining why we cut an episode in half tonight, which probably wasn't necessary. I could have just sent the episode right at 9:30. I probably didn't need to go back and explain that. I'm sorry. I needed those 15 minutes. I'm mad that the computer froze up on us, so I guess this kind of makes up for that. All right. At least the live stream never paused or stopped while we were watching the show tonight. So anyway, God be with you till we meet again. Until next week. Bye, y'all. Wait, let me end Facebook first. Bye, y'all, because I want the longer recording to stay here forever. And now that I said goodbye to Facebook, I'll say goodbye to YouTube. Bye, y'all.